One of the questions that most fascinates me is this. Now, why is it so much more exciting to be a human than, say, a rock? Now, I ask this because, superficially, we have a lot more in common with rocks than you might think. We contain the same subatomic particles, bound together with the same electromagnetic and nuclear and gravitational forces. Yet I think we can agree that life as a rock is probably a lot less exciting than a life as a human, a lot less meaningful. A rock simply doesn't care how hot out it is, or if there's a history paper due tomorrow. And the thing is, it's not the odd one out. We are. These scenarios produce reactions in us, whether it's taking off our animal hat when it's hot, or tapping frantically on a keyboard when there's a paper looming. And this is what I mean when I say that life is meaningful. Something about the orientation of the particles in the universe when that paper is due causes a reaction in us. It doesn't have to be external or visible in the traditional sense. A reaction could be the sweat glands in the skin activating, or the raised blood pressure and heart rate associated with last-minute paper writing panic. In a very abstract sense, this is another way of saying that we assign meaning to the world around us. The name for entities that find meaning in their surroundings is life. Let me give a metaphor here. The universe is just this random jumble of particles, just like how a speech given very fast in Urdu would be a senseless blur of sound to me. But now, get an Urdu speaker, and to them these random oscillations in the air aren't random at all. They could mean any of a million different things, each of which would produce a different reaction. The human brain is like a person who is fluent in the language of the universe. So why is any of this important? What does it matter whether or not a rock would care whether there's a paper tomorrow, when I definitely do? Well, first of all, it's super interesting, at least to me. It gets at what makes us humans so special, so human. But it turns out, even if all you care about is that you want to get that paper done, these concepts are still going to be pretty important. For example, the study of life and meaning is central to the computer programming responsible for the machine that you're probably using to write that paper. And while you're writing it, neurons are firing in your brain in patterns remarkably similar to those by which ant colonies scout for food, a pattern which taps into this whole field known as emergence. There are some really cool things I'd like to talk about here: cellular automata, Conway's Game of Life, and others. These games that give us an idea of how a world as mind-bogglingly complex as ours could have arisen spontaneously. Thinking about life from a perspective of emergence gives us a new view on all these bioethical controversies like abortion. It will guide our actions when, down the line, our robot servants start demanding their civil liberties. And if we ever do encounter extraterrestrial visitors, having a grasp on the origins and boundaries of life will probably help with whatever ensues. But most importantly, understanding how meaning works will help us understand ourselves, whether to develop new neuroscience procedures or psychiatric techniques, or any of a million other possible applications. In our increasingly globalized world, the future may hinge on how well we are able to understand the most complex and meaningful machine in the universe: us.